Gonna load up the 220 and the 350 today, take them to the next clearing project. Got a little pond to build. I was just sitting here as Donnie's turning around, admiring this pond, and man, it turned out great. I love the dark look of it. Green grass, blue skies, sandy beach. Love the way it looks. $350 has arrived. Let's get it unchained off the truck. Got the 350 unloaded, got the 220 here this morning. Just kind of greasing this up, and I'm going to grease up the graptor rake there. Had to put the bucket on here and this just to kind of save on weight. This machine is pretty heavy and we're about maxed out Donnie hauling it. So you probably remember this job. I've been here several times. This is probably the last go around I'll be here. And it's a big one. We're gonna, if you remember, all this was trees. Every bit of this. First time I cleared the house lot up there and opened this up to get all this to drain. All this was like 6 to 8 inches of just standing water everywhere. And ended up clearing all this out, clearing all that pasture over there, and clearing that section over there. Now the game plan is, I ended up clearing from the road. There's a ditch that goes all the way around this property to keep it drained. We cleared all that out to get all that cleaned up. Well, the ditch continues all the way down back to the main road. He wants me to clear all of those trees out and get a nice road all the way around there and get that ditch opened up. Take all that brush, either pile it up into this pile and burn it, or there's another pile down there it's going to go into. Finish burning these 2 piles, and out here in the center where this ditch and that ditch join, gonna dig a pond right there and take all the dirt, spread it over that field right there to raise that up and level that up, kind of put in a little bit of a pond dam here, and we may end up piping the ditch. Not 100% sure yet exactly what we're going to do, but yeah, that is the game plan for this go around. I'm gonna actually put the graptor rake on the 350 and go down there and see how well it does taking trees down. Also have the 220. I can either use either one of them, but I'm gonna try to use the 350, see how that works. I know it'll be probably a little bit faster. Graptor rake's on. Let's go down here and start clearing some trees, see how well this works. Still a little clearing with the 350 here. I don't know what this thing will do to a big pine tree. Probably break it off and then I'll have to pull it out of the ground. So working on this ditch line here. Gonna grab everything, roof it out of the ground, and get it ready to pile up and burn. can only imagine what the 220 would think of that. Piling everything up into a big pile right here. That way I can grab it, take it over there, or push it, or bring the dozer. Well, I'm going to bring a dozer regardless eventually. The only thing I've got to figure out on this is how to break trees without bending a tine here or something. Normally I can just kind of stab it and do that, but I'm afraid I don't know how strong those thumb tines are. What I don't want to do is, I know this thing's got a lot of power, is bend one of those, but I don't think I got to be worried about it. If it does, we'll just have to tell them they're going to have to upgrade. There's piles of dirt all in here from when they dug the ditch. They laid all the dirt up here, and when they bulldozed trails through here, everything just got pushed to a giant row here. That's kind of why everything's a mess, and the only way to fix it is to knock all the trees down, clean the ditch out, and regrade all the dirt. So that's what we got to do. Bring everything out here to kind of leave me access to get back in here. I don't know where I'm going to pile all this brush. I might just have to kind of pile it up against the ditch here. I don't know. Once I get farther in here. want to do is kind of use this job as something to work on when it's too wet to work on my horse arena. Calling for, like I say, a bunch of rain tomorrow, later on this evening, so I didn't want to get over there and not getting my grading done, what I needed to get done before it rained. Then it rained and make a mess. So go ahead and get equipment moved, and I can work on this down here when it's too wet to do that, because clearing trees, it doesn't have to be dusty dry. You don't want it swampy wet, but it can be a little wet and still be able to work. Here. Alright, I'm going to keep clearing on down this trail and getting this stuff broke up and put into a pile so it can start drying out. Push it over there to the big burn pile. Got a bigger gum tree here. I'm gonna dig around it, and once I get this down and this brush cleaned up, I'm gonna get on the 220. I'm starting to get into a bunch of these little pine trees, and honestly the 220 is probably faster getting those because I can pinch them off a lot easier. This machine's good at digging up these big stumps of trees. Got a lot of pulling power, but when it comes to picking up little branches and those little pine trees that snap off at the ground, the 220 is definitely a little more finessable. So I think I'm going to finish out the day in it and get some of those down. May just make some piles and then come back and grab everything with this. There was. fire down here when I burn all this stuff. Dump this and go get the 220 and start working on those little baby pine trees. It should be a little tedious, but I think I've cleared enough with the 220 to realize I think that's going to be a little bit quicker. Definitely made a good dent in it though. These little pine trees down in the 220 here now. It's a little quicker and a little more nimble on this little stuff like this. So I'm going to use it to clean this section right here, and it turns to some bigger stuff up in there. Stuff taken up. I don't care regardless of what you do, this stuff is time consuming. All these little spurs sticking out, these little pine trees, they just break off at the ground. That's how hard the ground is though, a dang little 5-inch tree. Alright, maybe the 350 wasn't so bad after all. I was wondering why it was struggling a little bit there on these trees. Because they're in the ground. once I get farther down the path, there's another spot down there that is opened up. That's where we're eventually going to do the big burn pile at for all this stuff. We got to do a little bit of clearing to kind of open it up, but until I get there, I'm just going to keep bringing stuff down here because I don't have room to snack it anywhere. I guess I could go down the trail and work my way back. I'm fine with some of this going. There's going to be so much brush, I'm fine with some of this going over here. It's just going to add up so much. You kind of see how this is higher than the path, and it's abnormally dry right now, but during wet season, that ditch is full of water and the path is just a muddy mess. So trying to get all this cleared and this ridge of dirt cut down so everything will drain, and he can kind of maintain that ditch a little better to make sure everything is draining. Might have to get back on the 350. I can't really dig these little stumps up. This is ridiculous. Ground does not want to let go. Dang. That's one thing the 350 don't care about is pulling out a stump. It will grab a hold of that. It's making for a bumpy day here. this one up, but the rest of them, I'm just gonna break them off. Come back with that big machine and pluck them out. That's crazy. Dang, 8-inch tree. I can't get it out of that burned ground. Well, making pretty good progress. As you can see, I started way down there, all the way down this far. As you can tell, there's just piles of dirt right here where they dug that ditch and cut this road in many years ago. Everything just got pushed over there to each side, and when it rains, it just floods this path. So cleaning all this up, pushing all that dirt down, leveling this up so it drains to the ditch will make a nice wide road through here and access around this property. So I'm gonna clear, gosh, I'm not even probably a fifth of the way, maybe not even that far. It's a long ways around here, but this was a opening right here. I'm going to clear this little group of trees out right here and do another burn pile in the center of this opening. That way all this brush can just be brought over here and not have to be taken all the way back to that other field. So I'll probably come over here and clear about this far with the 220, then I get over here with the 350 and the rake. I can grub all this stuff out, all this really quick, as I don't have to sit there and break it up, so that it fits nice and neatly so I can get the machine back out. 350 clears faster from what I've seen, but this one's a little more nimble as far as taking all these little trees and breaking them up and stacking them into a row behind me than the 350. So I'll get all this cleared back when I come back and go ahead and keep working my way down the ditch line.